No one knew what to think when the clip of Amelia Warner suddenly hit the internet. It wasn't a polished interview or a staged red carpet moment. It was a raw, shaky recording, taken from the corner of a podcast studio, where Amelia's voice trembled ever so slightly as she said, "There's something about Jamie I've never talked about publicly, something dark." The moment the clip ended, the internet exploded. Millions of people replayed the last 3 seconds, trying to read her expression, her tone, her eyes, anything that could hint at the meaning behind her words. Within hours, hashtags like #AmeliaReveals, #Jamie Dornan Secret, and #DarkTruth dominated every platform. Fans were stunned, critics smelled scandal, and the tabloids practically lost their minds, crafting headlines that grew more outrageous with each refresh. Why would Amelia reveal something like this? Why now? What could she possibly mean by dark? The mystery consumed the public as everyone tried piecing together clues from the tiny fragment of video they had. People who watched the full podcast live began posting their versions of what they thought Amelia meant. Some claimed she looked heartbroken. Others insisted she seemed tired, almost relieved, like someone finally letting go of a heavy secret. A few argued she had been pressured into speaking, while others insisted she did it willingly. No two interpretations matched, but they all agreed on one thing. This wasn't a throwaway moment. Whatever Amelia had hinted at was deeply personal. Old interviews resurfaced like ghosts crawling out of the past. Clips from years ago where Jamie mentioned hard times, struggles, or mistakes were suddenly re-examined with forensic obsession. Viewers analyzed Amelia's body language in old red carpet appearances, searching for signs of hidden tension. Some pointed out moments where Jamie seemed distant or distracted, as if carrying something heavy no one else could see. The internet was now convinced they had missed a running story, one that Amelia had just ripped wide open. The speculation grew darker with every passing hour. Some believed Amelia was hinting at a painful chapter from Jamie's childhood. Others thought it might involve a trauma he'd kept buried, something too sensitive for the world to hear. But some fans went even further, convinced it was connected to the emotional strain he carried during the height of his 50 Shades fame. They pointed out the sudden change in his demeanor during certain years, quieter interviews, guarded smiles, rare public appearances. Was that the dark secret Amelia was alluding to? Screenshots of the leaked clip spread everywhere. People magnified Amelia's hands, which seemed to tremble slightly. They noted the pause before she said the word dark, a pause long enough to suggest hesitation but short enough to signal determination. And then came the biggest shock. The clip had been cut. The recording ended right before Amelia finished her sentence. No continuation, no explanation, just a blunt, cliffhanger moment that left millions hanging on a blade of uncertainty. As the frenzy intensified, journalists began digging into Amelia's life. Articles popped up dissecting her past relationships, her career, her emotional struggles, even her early music days. Some called her brave for speaking out. Others accused her of betrayal. The divide was brutal, and yet Amelia remained silent, not posting anything, not clarifying, not denying, not soothing the tidal wave of chaos she had unintentionally unleashed. An anonymous podcast staff member eventually confirmed what viewers suspected. The full video hadn't been uploaded yet. The clip circulating online was taken from someone inside the studio who recorded it without permission. And according to that staff member, Amelia said much more after the snippet, something that left the room absolutely stunned. Their wording only fueled the fire. It wasn't gossip, they said. It was something real, something heavy, and it explains a lot about Jamie. Meanwhile, fans began constructing timelines of when Jamie seemed emotionally off. They pointed to an old interview where he admitted he had gone through a dark chapter he didn't want to discuss. They dug up a moment when he joked nervously about being difficult to love, before quickly changing the subject. These breadcrumbs now felt monumental, as if Amelia had finally confirmed what they'd sensed for years but never dared to articulate. But the most shocking detail came from a reporter who claimed to have seen the full podcast footage. According to them, Amelia didn't just reveal a secret, She revealed a truth that could change how the world sees Jamie forever. The reporter's tweet, which was deleted within 2 minutes, read, "It's not what fans expect. It's deeper, darker, and painfully human." And that was enough to send the internet into complete meltdown. Everyone now waited for one thing: the full video. The full truth. The rest of Amelia's sentence. The part that was cut off. The part that explained the darkness she had carried for years on behalf of the man she loved. The full podcast episode dropped without warning. No teaser. No countdown. No official announcement. It appeared quietly on the platform at midnight, as if the producers wanted to avoid the explosion they knew was coming. But the moment people realized it was live, everything detonated. Millions rushed to watch, bracing themselves for the truth Amelia Warner had tried, and failed, to hint at in the leaked clip. What they found was far more devastating, far more human, and far darker than anyone expected. The full footage showed Amelia sitting with her hands folded, staring for several seconds before speaking. The host asked her a simple question: "What is one thing about Jamie people don't know?" Amelia inhaled deeply, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "There's something Jamie has carried for years," she began softly. "Something that shaped him in ways even his closest friends don't fully understand." She paused, searching for the right words. Then she said it. The part the leaked clip had cut. Jamie spent years believing he wasn't worthy of love. The room fell silent, both in the podcast and across the entire internet. Amelia continued, explaining that Jamie had lived through a period of profound self-doubt, a time when fame, pressure, and the relentless public gaze pushed him into a darkness few people knew he struggled with. She spoke of nights where Jamie barely slept, times when he would disappear emotionally despite being physically present, moments when she had to hold the weight of both their lives while he tried to hold himself together. He never broke publicly, but privately, he had reached the brink more times than anyone realized. Amelia revealed that the pressure of 50 Shades had amplified everything. Audiences saw a confident leading man. But behind the scenes, the role brought a level of scrutiny that suffocated him. He felt judged, misunderstood, objectified, and every harsh headline chipped away at him, she confessed. At his lowest, Jamie avoided mirrors, avoided interviews, avoided even the people he loved, terrified they would see through the facade he fought to maintain. Amelia's voice cracked when she added, "He didn't want to burden anyone. Not even me." The internet, which had been expecting scandal, affair, or betrayal, fell completely silent. Amelia wasn't exposing Jamie, she was defending him. She wasn't revealing a shameful secret, she was explaining a wound. And the more she spoke, the clearer it became that Jamie's darkness wasn't something he caused. It was something he survived. Amelia then revealed the darkest part. Jamie blamed himself for everything. For moments of distance, for emotional withdrawal, for not being present enough as a husband and father during the period he battled his inner shadows. He thought he was broken, she whispered. But he wasn't. He was hurting. Her words hit harder than any scandal ever could. This wasn't drama, it was vulnerability stripped bare. Near the end of the podcast, the host asked Amelia why she chose to speak now. She hesitated, then answered with painful honesty. "Because he won't say it. He still can't. Jamie protects everyone else, but not himself. And people forget he's human." She explained that she wasn't revealing his secret to expose him, but to free him from the assumptions, from the criticisms, from the unrealistic expectations the world placed on him. "He's stronger now," she said. "But he still carries the scars." Hours later, Jamie finally responded. He posted a brief message, only a few sentences, but the world felt the weight behind each word. "I didn't want this to be public," he wrote. "But Amelia told the truth. I struggled, I doubted myself, I hid it because I didn't want to disappoint anyone." He ended with a line that shattered millions of hearts. "I'm healing. And I'm grateful she believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." Celebrities, fans, journalists, everyone reacted. Some cried. Some apologized for misjudging him over the years. Some praised Amelia for her bravery. Others criticized her, arguing that such intimate details shouldn't have been shared. But the overwhelming sentiment was compassion. For the first time, people saw Jamie not as a flawless Hollywood star, but as a man who had endured a silent war with himself and survived. By the end of the day, the conversation had transformed completely. It wasn't about scandal. It wasn't about secrets. It was about mental health, vulnerability, and the unseen battles people fight behind closed doors. Amelia had broken the internet, but not by exposing darkness. By shedding light on it. And in that unexpected moment of raw truth, Jamie Dornan became more real, more complex, and more deeply human than ever before.